Good morning, everyone, here and virtually. Welcome to you. We're so glad you're here today. It's been my practice to offer a gratitude, but today what I thought I would do is ask you in the privacy of your living room or here in the sanctuary to say out loud one thing that you're grateful for. Ready? Go. Very good. Very good. Right now, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, a very accomplished musician, a minister, and so much more, Andy Anderson on the keyboards. We're so glad that he and the wonderful band are here to provide some music for us. So let's enjoy.
Joy, I let it shine in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it shine in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let joy, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Grace, I let grace, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let grace, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Love, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let love, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. It's all there is. Oh, I let peace, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let peace, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. I let peace, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let peace, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. Let's do it again. I let peace, I let it live in me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. I let peace, I let it shine through me for the whole world to see. It's all there is. It's all there is. Oh, yes.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Last time. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Joanne Allison, and I'm your practitioner for this morning. And I invite you to join me in prayer. So know with me that there's one creative intelligence, one energy that operates through all things, through you and through me. And as I align myself with that one this morning, and always, I know that there's a deeper presence within, and I turn to that inside presence now. That inside beauty and joy and peace and all intelligence. And I know that in this moment, I welcome everyone here to join me on our journey today. And so it is.
Spirit, lead me and guide me. 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 Every day I see and a new way. Living my life to the fullest every day. There's nothing sweeter than a smile on my face. I just surrender to that power and love every moment, every day. Spirit, lead me and guide me. Spirit, just keeps on giving me. Spirit, just let it lead me and guide me. Spirit, just keeps on giving me. It's up to me to be that brighter day, because I am that I am. He supports me with yes in every way. So I surrender to that power and love every moment, every day. It's only love. It's all there is, all there'll ever be. It's up to me to know and receive, and know there's only one life, love, peace, and harmony. Oh, it's only Spirit living me. Spirit, lead you and guide and guide you.
Spirit,
Will just keep on giving you when you find yourself going through the dark night of the soul. Just release and let go and know that it's so. Then surrender to that power and love every moment, every day. Oh, yeah. It's only love. She's all there is, all there'll ever be. It's up to me to know and believe and know there's only one life, love, peace, and harmony. Oh, it's Holy Spirit living in me. Spirit, lead me and guide me.
Spirit,
Just keeps on giving me.
Spirit,
Just let it lead me and guide me.
Spirit,
Just keeps on giving me. It's only love. All there is, all there'll ever be. It's up to me. Oh, it's only Spirit living in me. When I love myself just the way I am, I can free my power wherever I am. At any time I can redefine yet a new paradigm and let myself grow and grow. There's only one life, that life is divine. I know it, I'll claim it, it's mine. Let myself see it start with me. It's perfection that I am. When I see the best, know the best, be the best I can be. Then release and let go, give love and know. When I love myself just the way I am, I can free my power wherever I am. I can redefine, get a new paradigm, and let myself grow and grow. When I love myself, when I love myself just the way I am,
just the way I can free my power wherever I am.
And when I decide to change my mind, get a new paradigm, and let my love grow. The truth, it has to produce the results I'm looking for. It's done unto me as I believe. Possibilities all I see. When I see the truth, know the truth, be the truth as me. Then I know that I know that I know that I know that I know. And I love myself just the way I am. to change my mind, get a new paradigm. Let my love grow and grow and grow and grow. La, 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 when I love myself just the way I am, I can free my power wherever I am. At any time I can redefine, get a new paradigm, let myself grow and grow. Let it grow, let it grow, let it grow and grow. That's all I am. Let it grow and grow. That's all you are. Let it grow and grow. Let it grow. Let it grow and grow.
Oh, so wonderful to have you, Andy. And we may not know, but I know that he's actually famous, and you know how I am with famous people. I'm a little scared of famous people. Yeah, he's part of the music team for the entire organization. And his wife, who's right next to him there, Reverend Bonnie Anderson, is a friend of mine. She's a fellow soul collage facilitator and just an all-around incredible person. So welcome, Bonnie. All right, we start a new month with a new theme over the yearly theme, which is on the brink of everything. And this month, our theme is reaching in. And the topic today is the inner journey. And so I just happened to be reading a couple of books that are talking about journeying outwardly, not inwardly, but I bumped into a couple things that made me think, so I thought I'd bring them to you. I found out that in French, which I used to know really well, I had 4 years of it, but now I'm reduced to like numbers, some. But the word journey in French is journée, and it refers to the distance that you can walk in a single day. So journey. And so when we talk about the inner journey, one of the things to remember is that it really is a process of an unfolding inner process, an inner journey that takes what it takes to go from where we are and to keep going forward gently with ourselves. The other thing I read, I brought this just to illustrate. Some of you will remember these. This is called a map, a physical map. This one happens to be of Seattle. But whether you have a physical map, which I still tend to love, or Google, the truth of the matter is that the map is not the place, right? So people can tell you how to get there. They can give you all kinds of advice. They can tell you about their journey. They can say how they went. They can say what they saw. But your journey is going to be very unique to you. And you can take advice from those folks that have traveled. But one of the things, my favorite things that Joseph Campbell said is he was talking about the Knights of the Round Table. And they were basically convened by King Arthur, goes the legend, to search for the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail was, according to myth, was the grail with which Jesus the Christ drank And the myth that went with that is that if you were to drink from the Holy Grail, you would have eternal life. So there was a big quest in those days to find the Holy Grail. But of course, because it's a myth and mystical, no one had succeeded in finding it. So the knights were convened. King Arthur was at the head of the table, and he said, "My knights, when you go from this place, search high and low until you find the Holy Grail, and bring it back so that we may illumine the world." So off they went. And what Joseph Campbell said about their quest was that every night was to go into the forest on their own and not take a path that anyone else had followed before. That was their charge, was to go into a place where no path had yet been made. Because if a path had been made, it meant that someone else's path was being followed. And that's wonderful advice to find the Holy Grail, which still hasn't been found as far as I can tell. But it's especially good advice for spiritual travelers, because a lot of times we hear from the lovely people in our life that we should follow their path. And while many of the things that their path contains might be lovely to experience, we can't follow their path. We're not them. And so from the time we were little, many of us were not instructed to take our own path, but rather were told over and over and over and over and over again through our schooling, through our parents, through our mentors, through every phase of our growing up. No, don't take the path that you're drawn to. That won't make you any money, or that won't get you where you want to go, or that, they had lots of reasons. And finally, at some point in our lives, I'm sure this is true for all of you that are listening, we wake up and realize, oh, I have to do it my way. There's an old song by Frank Sinatra, do you remember? My Way. And I really didn't actually love Frank Sinatra. He was my parents' era kind of singer. And I didn't particularly love that song because it was sung over and over and over in my house. But the point was valid. I did it my way. We have to do it our way, particularly when it comes to the spiritual path. So I am going to share with you some signposts, because there's nothing wrong with hearing from others who have traversed the spiritual terrain what they've found useful. And then we sort. Will that help me? Is that valid for me? Is that what I can apply or not? So here come the signposts. So one of the first things comes from a book. It's an old book, actually, called The Art of Pilgrimage. And it's written by Philip Cousineau, who was a student of Joseph Campbell's. So he was very much interested in the mythic hero's journey. So he compiled this wonderful, it's a little tiny book called The Art of Pilgrimage. And he's talking about a friend of his who is both a yoga instructor and an artist. And she is often prompted to go on an inner journey as well as an outer one. And so this is what she says. This is one of the first signposts I wanted to offer. If my trip is going to be sacred, I need to see differently, she says. I need to think new thoughts, not just conditioned responses. That's because I have a different relationship to time on the road, a freedom of thought that I don't give myself at home. So that's the first tip. So let me talk about it briefly. A lot of people, not you necessarily, but there are a lot of people who travel around the world, but they make sure that everywhere they go, they have the comforts of home with them. So they don't leave home without their pillow. They don't leave home without their special shampoo. They don't leave home without, God help us if we left home without our cell phones, and on it goes. And so as they're journeying to lovely places, they're pretty much insulated in the comfort that they've created for themselves. Now, I will tell you, I love comfort. We bought a little teardrop trailer because I was a little tired of sleeping on the ground when we were camping. I like comfort, but I don't like it enough to let it blur or keep me from seeing the world afresh with new eyes. It's really important to me that I take the shaman's advice that I've heard over the years, another signpost. The shamans will say, there is first sight and there's second sight. First sight is the way we see the world all the time, mundane, day in and day out. That's a tree, that's grass, this is a sanctuary, that's a person. Second sight drops all the labels and becomes available to just what is without needing to label it, and sees the world differently because of that. So as we set out on the journey, not only do we set our intention for whatever it is that we're hoping for when we take an inner journey, whether it's a journey of recovery or a journey of discovery or both, we set our intention and then we invite ourselves to see the world with fresh eyes, with a fresh perspective, without all the labels, including the labels that we paste on ourselves. Particularly if we've gone through life and we've made mistakes, or we've had failures, or we've been unsuccessful with a relationship or with ourselves. Those labels, they're not just stuck on with tape. We've used some mighty fine Gorilla Glue. And if we're not careful, it's really hard to peel those things off. So setting off on an inner journey requires us to consider that maybe those labels aren't accurate for right now, and to move forward with fresh perspective. The second signpost or marker that I wanted to bring you is from Rumi. Most of you know Rumi was a Sufi, which is the mystical branch of Islam, and he was quite a guy. I'd love to tell you more about him, but I don't have time right now. So I'll just read you one of his, I don't know if you could call it poetry, but it is, but it's not. And this is one that I brought to the women's retreat this last summer because I had never heard it. And it was pivotal to what we were working with, which was first sight and second sight, fresh perspective. So this is what Rumi says. It's called Tending Two Shops. Don't run around this world looking for a hole to hide in. There are wild beasts in every cave. If you live with mice, the cat claws will find you. The only real rest comes when you're alone with the divine. Live in the nowhere that you came from, even though you have an address here. That's why you see things in two ways. Sometimes you look at a person and see a cynical snake. Someone else sees a joyful lover, and you're both right. Everyone is half and half, like the black and white ox. Joseph, who's a biblical character who was thrown in a pit by his brothers. Joseph looked ugly to his brothers and most handsome to his father. You have eyes that see from that nowhere, and eyes that also judge distances. How high, how low, how good, how bad. You own two shops, and you run back and forth. Try to close the one that's a fearful trap, getting always smaller. Checkmate this way, checkmate that way. Keep open the shop where you're not selling fish hooks anymore. You are the free-swimming fish. So that's a little obscure maybe But he's pointing to something that's so important if you're setting out on an inner journey of discovery and recovery. And that is that, we really do have real estate in the divine. Why? Well, in our tradition, we don't think of God as external or some big dude with a long old white beard sitting on a throne somewhere. But rather, we think of God, Spirit, the divine, the one, the quantum field, as this incredible divine energy that fills everything with its presence, always available, always there. And so we have real estate in the divine, in the quantum field of all possibility. And that real estate is priceless. And we also have an address here, our bodies, where we live, our cars, our bikes, our way in the world. That's the address we live in the mundane world. And most people spend their entire life just looking at that real estate, and often not liking the view, without realizing that within there's incredible possibility available all the time to have a life of rich and incredible expression. So Rumi says, you own 2 shops. Why don't you close the address that leaves you in the mundane only and stand in the one that opens you to everything that is, that lets you be free? It's great advice. The question, of course, for every spiritual traveler going on an inner journey is, well, how do I get there? And no one can tell you. You can point the way, you can take the advice, you can say, okay, Rumi said that there's this other place inside me. How do I get from where I've been to there? And as soon as you ask the question, things start to roll. So watch out, because it's going to be a wild ride sometimes. The other advice I brought is from one of my favorite poets. But a lot of people don't realize that this particular poet was molested as a child. And so a lot of her poetry speaks of how she's found herself and moved out of that label into her own expression and her own life. So I brought a couple of things from her. Her name is Mary Oliver. She's very famous. I don't know if you've heard of her. She died recently. I found a poem I'd never read, which is always exciting for me. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. In fact, for a long time, it wasn't mine. But the farther into the journey I get, the more poetry is the only language that can describe my coordinates of where I am in the map of my inner life. So this one is called Mindful. And it's really important, at least for me, in my part of the journey, and I'm hoping it'll help you too. She writes, every day I see or I hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It is what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy. Not beautiful? So why does that relate to your inner journey and mine? Well, for me, one of the things that I've discovered as I move further and further into that inner landscape is that joy is endemic in that land if I'm watching for it. What do I mean by that? I mean, I don't know if you've been to places. There's a place right around here I was telling my friend who was visiting. It sort of feels like Vampire Lane to me. Like when I go there, I kind of get the shivers. How many of you have had a similar experience somewhere in the world? Yeah, I'm not the only one. Good. She did too. So I wasn't alone. But there are also places in this world that all you have to do is step into that landscape, and joy is everywhere present. How many of you have had that? Oh, lots more. Good for you. Good. Let's have less vampire lanes and much more joyful places. So what she's pointing to is that the inner landscape that we carry around inside of us has joy as part of it all the time. It's there all the time. It's the nature of the divine. Joyful, joyful, joyful. Just is. But I don't know about you, but a lot of times I don't experience that. Maybe there's a gorilla glued label on me that's keeping me from seeing or feeling or experiencing or being present. So mindfulness, bringing ourselves with second sight, with that other way of seeing, to where we are, even if it's a hard place, there's joy there. The other thing that Mary Oliver has to say in one of her most famous poems, this is probably one of the poems that actually made her famous. And it's called Wild Geese. And I'm not sure I'm going to read you the whole thing. I was trying to decide, because really there's two parts in this poem that I think grab almost everybody who reads it. Maybe I will read it, and then you see which grabs you. It's very short. It starts out this way. You do not have to be good. Isn't that a great start? You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Beautiful poem. Every time I read it, I'm just like, oh. But the parts that catch me that have to do with signposts or markers along our inner journey, one of them is, tell me of your despair, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Now, why is that important to an inner journey? For me, what's important to understand is that this journey that takes us deep within to the divine within us is not always full of joy. There's despair that we bring from the real estate of the mundane into that journey. And we need to acknowledge that that's there, not try to do some sort of spiritual bypass, like go around it, but instead actually acknowledge, yes, this being a sacred human involves some tears as well as some laughter. It involves some difficult times as well as some incredible times of joy. So tell me of your despair and I'll tell you mine. But it's so important that she followed it this way. Meanwhile, in the landscape of the soul, there is this incredible thing happening that we can still touch into. Just like Mary Oliver, molested as a child, despair, left that behind on that journey of hers to become who she was in truth. It wasn't because of or not because of what happened to her. It was her intention. That's what made that happen. So a very powerful marker for me. I'm out of time. And so all I'll say, for those of you who are ready to take the inner journey deeper, is that intention that you set in the beginning, the more we return and remind ourselves of what that is, the more we bring our attention to that, the more the way will open and we will find that our next steps are revealed. I know as a seeker myself, I always want to kind of know the end. I want to know where I'm going. But the spiritual journey isn't like that. We have to be patient enough and willing enough to go where the light is illuminating and trust that when we step into that light, the next part of our journey will be revealed. So one last thing, instead of a prayer, sometimes I do our form of prayer, which is very affirmative. But, I fell in love with this Irish guy. His name is John O'Donoghue. And, John was, he's passed away, but he gave voice to things in ways that only he could. So this is a blessing for you on your inner journey. A journey can become a sacred thing. Make sure before you go to take the time to bless your going forth, to free your heart of any weight, so that the compass of your soul might direct you towards the territories of spirit, where you will discover more of your hidden life and the urgencies that desire and deserve to claim you. May you travel in an awakened way, gathered wisely into your inner ground, that you may not waste the invitations which wait along the way to transform you. May you travel safely, arrive refreshed, and live your time away to its fullest, returning home more enriched and free to balance the gift of days which call to you. May it be so for you, that your journey illumines you, refreshes you, and carries you forward into the mystery. Thank you for coming today. Thank you. I'm so glad to see new people, and I wanted to tell you that although we're not particularly churchy, we do have offertory baskets. And so the band is going to play while those baskets go around. We are solely supported by donation, and so we're doing very well. So don't feel obliged, but if you would like to support what's happening here, thank you for your gifts. Thank you very much. All right, my friends, what have you got in store for us?
Ah, yes. Everyone take a breath. Isn't it wonderful when you can discover that life is so good? Everyone say with me, life is so good.
Life is so good. Come on, I didn't hear you.
Y'all didn't say that like you believe it. Let me hear you say it. Life is so good.
Life is so good.
Yes. 3, 4. Every day I'm so grateful, thankful. Oh, it's a new day on my horizon. All that I am, all I can be, oh, it's just a gratitude shining through me. Nature's gifts to me, perfect place to be. I keep loving myself so I can see there's only beauty in you, beauty in me. Oh, let's all stand up together and let the whole world see. So grateful, I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful. My life is so good, precious and good. Now see, with every breath I take, with every step I take, it takes me higher on my path of awakening. See through the eyes of love, there's only one of us. So let's be grateful for all that's been given us. No need to live in fear. All of life is His soul. Come on, let's love and let the love come shining in. Smiling faces, warm embraces. Oh, let's all stand up and let the whole world know I'm so grateful. I'm so So grateful every day. Yes, I am.
Well, what would it be without a few announcements, right? And so let me tell you a little bit about what's happening here at the center in case you want to get involved in some way. Today at noon, I'm going to be leading a Zoom membership information meeting. What is that? Well, to be a member here is not necessary, first of all. You don't have to ever be a member here to come and be a part of. But our members do take a next step in, and they feel like this is such an awesome place that they want to make sure it continues. And so they make some extra steps in to the center. And so I'll be talking about what those steps are on the Zoom meeting. You can come, you can ask questions, you can hear what I have to say. You don't ever have to join, but if you want to, after you've heard everything, then we'd love you to do that. So membership is not obligatory. It's because you wanna. So that's happening at noon today, and if you would like, if you're listening virtually or here, know that the Zoom link, all you have to do is email the center at info@csl-bellingham.org, and we'll shoot you the Zoom link so that you can have that. So Andy, I meant to ask before we started, did you bring product here, or can they access it on your website? How would
Yes.
they support you?
AndyJAnderson.com.
AndyJAnderson.com. So he has, actually, I've been to your website, and it's wonderful, and he has so much wonderful supportive music, so check him out. This coming Saturday, October 9th, we have a very unusual thing happening. We have a brand new, what's called a play shop, and it's being offered by a practitioner of the science of mind and also an artist. Her name is Deb Dole. And it is an in-person only event. And so if you want to come, you need to register because Deb needs to bring some supplies for you to play with. She says there is no artistic background or experience needed. It's not actually about art, it's about playing. But it's more than that. She, being an artist, went through the classes that we offer. And we teach the universal spiritual principles. That's why these flags are up here, is we've taken some of the basic truths of all the great spiritual traditions, and we teach those principles, you know, the golden rule, things like that. So Deb, being an artist, started turning those principles into art and looking at them from different perspectives, creative ideas. And so it's not all going to be about artistic stuff. It's really more about encountering a principle and looking at it from all these different angles, which is what artists do so well. So it starts at 10, goes to 12:30. There's a love offering requested of $20, but don't let that stop you if you want to come. But you do need to register with the email that I mentioned. So this Saturday. And then there's something that's happening, and I wanted, especially those of you who are parents or grandparents, I wanted to alert you to this one. It also needs to happen in person, and it's building a nature mandala. And why would that be important for parents and grandparents? Because I want you to bring your kids and your grandkids. My own experience with my kids and grandkids is they're not outside enough most of the time. And there is something magical about going around our campus, which is 7.5 acres of second growth forest for the most part, gathering natural materials and then making this beautiful mandala, this sort of circle of intention. And so it's not just for adults, although I love doing these things, but it's also for anybody who would like to participate. You don't even have to be, part of this spiritual tradition. You could bring your friends if you think that they would love to do this. It's very meditative, it's very quiet. It's a real opportunity to kind of create beauty in the fall and the autumn time. So that is happening on October, where'd it go? There it is, 16th. October 16th, which is 2 Saturdays from now, and it starts at 10 and also goes to 12:30. It's a love offering thing. Bring a bag or a basket to gather the natural materials and just have fun with Deb. She's doing this one as well. Now, Kathy Angel here is she is going to start a book study, and I brought the book so you could see it. I don't know, I didn't ask you if you wanted to talk about it. I can do it. Okay, so this is the book, Hope Matters. And I don't know about you, but it would be pretty easy to despair about climate change. I won't ask for a show of hands. But it's pretty easy to go there. And this wonderful woman, who is a scientist, was teaching. She was teaching children and adults and young adults, and she was realizing that they were in such distress over the climate issues that they had given up. And people, if we give up now, we're doomed. We can't give up. We need to mobilize, right? So she wrote this book and has a whole website full of incredible ideas for children as well as adults to really mobilize. And this book is all about actually the positive facts, the positive things that are happening all over the world to help with this issue. So Kathy's going to lead a book study on this book. You can get it at Amazon. It's going to start on October 18th, which is a Monday, at 6:30 in the evening. Go for about an hour and a half. It'll be an opportunity, it's all on Zoom, so you can be at home, and it's an opportunity to read the book and then talk about climate from a different place. So it's really, really rewarding. It goes for 4 weeks. It'll be the 18th and the 25th of October, and the 8th and the, is that right, the 8th? It skips the first, yeah, the 8th and the 15th of November. So I'd love you to come and be a part of it. No charge at all. That's a wonderful thing to do. And last but not least, every year at the end of October, we set up altars in the back of the sanctuary here, sometimes outside, and we honor the dead, the people that we have lost in our lives, people that we've lost really right now, like in the last year or two, but also people that have been part of our path that maybe were lost a while ago, and we want to honor them. So the purpose is not grim or depressing, but rather a celebration of the people and also the animals that have supported us and lifted us and been part of our experience. So Sunday, October 31st, one of the favorite days of the year for me, Halloween Day, we are going to have those altars set up. They'll be set up for a week. And then on the next Sunday, we will have a ceremony of releasing, and everybody takes their photos, their mementos home. So to bring to the altar, you can bring anything that reminds you of that person or that animal. Pictures of them or gifts that you've received from them or symbolic things. It's up to you, but it's a real way to honor those people that we have been lifted by. So you're invited to partake of that. All right, that's enough of that. And Philip, thank you. The men's group is next Sunday at noon, and it is hybrid, meaning that you can be here in the classroom, which is right through that door, and be in person, masked, or you can come to the men's group on Zoom and participate as well. So hope you'll join the men next Sunday at noon if that's of interest to you. All right, you guys, let's take it out on a high note. Yes. Yes. 1, 2, 3.
I am prosperous. I have everything I need. I am prosperous. I have everything I need. I am prosperous. I have everything I need. I am prosperous. I am, let's sing it again. Oh, I am prosperous. I have everything I need. I am prosperous. I have everything I need. I am prosperous. I have everything I need. I am prosperous. I have prosperous. You are prosperous. You have everything you need. are prosperous. You have everything you need. You are prosperous. You have everything you need. You are prosperous. We are. Oh, we are prosperous. We have everything we need. 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 We are prosperous. We are prosperous. We are prosperous.
Andy Anderson.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Andy.
Oh, yeah.